When there's an injustice against you or someone you love or someone you believe in, stand up. Don't sit down on them, if they need you.
Welcome to Popcorn Planet's Pop Culture Justice Live. I am Steph the Alter Nerd, your nerdy alternative, filling in for Andy whilst he is away on holiday. He literally landed in Istanbul about 5 hours ago, and he messaged me saying, Steph, guess what? I'm ahead of you now time-wise. And I'm like, firstly, welcome to Europe, my side at pond, and secondly, welcome to the future. But I am here with my PIC. Yes, it's Kim. Hello, honey. How you doing?
I am doing good. I'm doing good. Thank you for having me. I'm excited. And thank you guys all for being here. Remember to hit that like on your way in. We appreciate it.
Absolutely. So let's dive into today's topic, which is, war in court. Prince Harry versus, the tabloid journalist. They were able to, it looks like at the last minute, get one of the tabloid journalists from the Mirror on the stand. Question is, though, who won? So we're going to get into that. But Kim, first and foremost, what do you know about this trial with Prince Harry and the Mirror Group newspaper?
I know that Prince Harry has definitely had a lot of feelings about the Mirror Group for a very long time. And he's come in with a number of articles that he claims it's possible there could have been, was it illegal information gathering? I can't remember what the term is exactly for it, but, hacking into his phone, his voicemails, all that type of stuff, taking that information and using it for articles. And he had a very interesting time on the stand through that whole process of going through those articles and people saying, okay, it's fine that, you have your feelings, but where are the facts? Where are the receipts that this is what happened? And that's kind of where I'm at on that. That's when I know.
Yeah, well, let's get into this because once Harry finished his testimony yesterday, we had Jane Kerr come on to stand. Now, she became a royal reporter in 1996 for the Mirror. She became a royal correspondent for that newspaper between 97 to 2005 and then moved up to assistant news editor from 2006. And the first thing Prince Harry's lawyer turns around and says is, you didn't want to come to court today, did you? And she was like, no, the court ordered me to. And I'm sorry, but that's kind of like a stupid question. Like, of course you didn't want to come. Who would have wanted to come? If you can avoid it, why not, right?
The only people that want to come to court are the lawyers.
Because they're the ones that are getting paid for it. That's the thing,
please.
right?
Yes, and also many of them love law, but I'm just saying, most people don't, it's not their idea of a good time to go and take the stand.
Not really, no. So Harry's lawyer then turns around and asks why she didn't mention the fact that she became an assistant news editor at the Mirror in a witness statement. She says, I don't know, I just suppose I didn't think it was important. It didn't cross my mind to list all of my titles. Now, this is the thing, right? And I'm going to give it to Prince Harry's lawyer. He kind of has a really good point on this one because he says, you're trying to distance yourself from the Mirror's news desk at a time when we knew there was heavy use of phone hacking and private investigators. She says that's not true. I'm very proud of working on the news desk. I think he's got a point there.
Yeah,
I actually do. Yeah. I do. Because, I mean, look at it. Royal reporter, royal correspondent, then assistant news editor. Yeah, why would she miss that out in her witness statement? Why would you miss that out?
Yeah, it's a good question. It's a good question.
So
it's convenient.
Definitely convenient. So I'll give it to Hazard's lawyer on that one. Definite. We then go on to the 7/7 bombings. So this was July the 7th when, we were attacked in London. And she says it was her job to send reporters to an address. Now, Harry's lawyer turns around and says, the truth, Ms. Kerr, is you were working in a senior position at a national newspaper and you seem to have no idea of what you were doing at the time. Now, At this point, just to explain this scenario here, Harry's lawyer is questioning this journalist on the services used by the Mirror to find addresses of individuals that the newspaper wanted to speak to for stories surrounding this particular absolutely horrific event for us, right? Now, she replies, I did know what I was doing at the time, but this was a very long time ago and I would make these calls all the time. So it wasn't out of the ordinary what she was doing here for this story. Harry's lawyer says, you called up people, you didn't know what they did, they magically produced a phone number and you never asked any questions. And she said, yeah, which, yeah, if you're receiving information, you automatically are thinking, as far as I'm concerned, although I can be naive, I understand, that you're getting it on good faith. There's nothing untoward that happened in the gathering of the information that you are now receiving.
I also would argue that with what we're talking about on 7-7, that when you're dealing with a situation like that, there's no rule book. You just kind of have to react and do the best that you can with the information that you're given. And it doesn't mean that it's done in, even if you do make a mistake, it doesn't mean that you were doing it with bad intentions. You just were reacting with what you had and you ran, because that's what you do. You have to give people the best information you can as quickly as possible.
Exactly. And you know, Kim makes a very, very good point. This was 7-7. You know, you're talking, a massive, absolute massive event. But it's a story like none other, you know what I mean? There are unique and exceptional circumstances surrounding it. So,
absolutely. And even like to that credit, when we cover stories that are breaking, when stuff is coming out, like we're very honest that it's like, this is a fluid situation. We are getting new information constantly. We don't have the time at this moment to vet every single thing that we say. This is what is coming through. We're doing our best. That's normal. That's normal.
Yeah, it is. And so, asked whether she had ever asked for a phone bill while she was working at the Mirror, the journalist says, absolutely not. I've never obtained a phone bill nor seen one. And then the lawyer turns around and says, you didn't think twice about whether it was lawful or appropriate to obtaining people's numbers. And she says, I assumed it was totally lawful. Well, yeah. She's getting the information. She's getting these numbers. How could you think... this is a bit dodgy. You're receiving this information on good faith. And so you then use that information as a journalist to get the story and report it out there to the public. And in all honesty, so far, in terms of what we're seeing with this line of questioning from Hazard's lawyer, apart from the bit where she admitted out of her witness statement, which, yes, that is sus, that she was an assistant news editor and she didn't put that in a witness statement. The rest of it is, well, hang on a minute. Where's the unlawful, illegal information gathering? It's not proving anything.
No.
Now, they then go on to discuss 2 invoices addressed to a freelancer in South Africa called Mark Bear, one of which related to Chelsea Davy, which is Prince Harry's ex-girlfriend, and the other 2 are Victoria Spencer. Now, the journalist turns around and says, I knew he was a freelance journalist in South Africa, talking about this Mark Bear character. She adds, we were working on a story involving Prince Harry and Chelsea Davy, and I called Mark to see if we could get information from his contacts in South Africa, and I would ask him to verify stories or to get information on a story. So far, so normal, right? I mean, we've done that here on Popcorn Planet, right? You know, with the Free Britney movement back in the day, oh my goodness. We had some contacts, we asked them for information, they gave us that information, we reported it to you. Same thing with the Justice for Johnny Depp story. We had our contacts, we asked for information, we gave it. We received it, and then we gave it to you guys. So, what she's saying so far, I see no indication whatsoever of any dodginess. And this is the thing. The lawyer tries to paint her in a corner, saying, and you would have no idea how he obtained the information. And she says, no. And why would she? He has his contacts, his information.
Yep.
As soon as he gives that information to her, that's it. She don't need to know where he got it from or anything like that, because, again, it's all in good faith. What are your thoughts so far on this?
I I don't see how it is anything other than normal of what I've seen with journalism, right? You have sources, you view that they're credible, they give you information, and you say this based on a credible source, this is what we know. We see that all the time. All the time.
All the sodding
I don't, yeah,
time.
it's not. And what part of that is illegal either? Even if you disagree with the method, like ethically, what part of that is illegal?
Now, this is the thing. If she knew that, let's say allegedly, if she knew that this dude did get the information through very, very dodgy illegal means, then that's another story, but then that's on the onus of Hazard's lawyer to prove that. And so far, he hasn't. This is the thing. So let's continue, okay? So his lawyer then reads to court that Chelsea's flight details, again, Prince Harry's ex-girlfriend, were allegedly blagged by the freelancer in South Africa, got obtained. And the journalist turns around and says, I don't know how he got this information. I've never seen this. I don't know how he got the information. I've never seen it. That's it. That's the end of that conversation. Done. She says, I've never intercepted a voicemail. I wouldn't even know how. And again, the evidence, the burden of proof, the onus is on Prince Harry's lawyer to prove that she knew how to hack voicemails and that she did it in the first place. But throughout this line of questioning, it ain't happening. It's a case of, yeah, I received information as a journalist, don't know where I got it from, didn't need to, received it in good faith, used it.
Yep.
That's it. That's it.
That's it.
That's it. So the lawyer turns around and it's like he's trying to put her down here. You seem to remain totally uninvolved and totally unaware of that. Is that your evidence in relation to that there was habitual and widespread voicemail interception and use of unlawful information gathering across all three newspapers that Mirror Group newspapers own? And she says it is. Well, again, that's the end of that conversation there.
And
His
the thing is,
lawyer
unless he
hasn't
can
proven
prove
anything.
Yeah. Unless you can prove that she knows, that's it. The conversation is over. There's nothing else to say.
It is literally one of the little taglines over the last 48 hours whilst Prince Harry was on the stand is realms of speculation. It ain't just Prince Hazard that is living in the realms of speculation here. It's his freaking lawyer, David Sherburn. There's no evidence. There's nothing linking this journalist to unlawful information gathering, and this journalist is just running rings around this lawyer. It's amazing to see. So when we go to her written witness statement, okay, she said she was expected to break stories using her contacts or follow-up reports published elsewhere with a fresh angle. And that's quite interesting to know, published elsewhere. Because again, the 48 hours that Prince Harry was on the stand, they went through article after article after article, 33 in total, and every single time it was published 2 days before or a week before in another newspaper. So it was all in the public domain before the Mirror Group then published it. In one instance, he freaking gave an interview to Associated Press and then the Mirror then did the story about it afterwards, and he's saying unlawful information gathering on that one too. So, yeah, this witness statement from her, this journalist, is actually quite masterful because it's reinforcing follow-up reports published elsewhere with a fresh angle. She then said she'd also contact palace press offices to check or get further information, adding that the then editor of the Mirror, who we all know, one of the ultimate trolls, Piers Morgan, also engaged with the palace press offices and would occasionally direct or inject information into a story. She accepted she would not necessarily know how he would have obtained the information, adding it might have come from him speaking to the palace. But here, right, she's able to provide a reasonable explanation as to how she gets this information.
Yeah,
which
and she's not
every journalist
responsible.
will have had. Information
Yeah.
from palace sources, this, that, and the other, they've all got it.
And if Pierce Morgan comes in and goes, hey, I have this information, it is not her responsibility to vet how he got that information.
I mean, here we go. She also confirmed she would have included a tip of information provided by Pierce Morgan in a story. But get this right, he was her boss. Think about that dynamic just right there, yeah?
Yep.
The boss turns around and says, right, I know you're working on this story. I've just spoken to my sources. Here's some information. What are you going to do? Not include it in your article? Are you kidding me?
You want to get fired?
Do you know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
of course she's going to include whatever Pierce was going to give her for the story. And again, you take it in good faith. The information that was gathered, that's being provided to you, was done through legal means. Do you know?
Yeah.
They do go through a couple of the articles specifically. So the 2002 Daily Mirror article, and she said, look, it was possible they came from a previous article in the News of the World or from the palace. But, you know, the lawyer's like, no, it's precisely the sort of detail that would come from someone listening in to voice messages. Well, you're going to make that assumption. Prove it. Prove it. Saying this is one of the biggest royal stories of the time. Surely you remember what you did for this story, his lawyer asks. And she says, I'm afraid I don't. But think about it. That makes sense. Because what? She'll have written thousands of stories for Mirror during her tenure there. She was there for years, donkey's years. Yeah. And you're asking her to remember specifically on one story what happened.
Steph, can you remember what you did at work? Yeah, can you remember what you did at work 7 years ago today?
Jog on.
What cases were you working on?
Let alone 7 years ago.
I know. I don't remember what I had for breakfast.
Do you know, right? And so she also faced questions on 2 stories about Prince Hazard's relationship with Chelsea. One in January 2005 titled Harry's Girl to Dump Him, and another one titled Chelsea is Not Happy, with the latter containing details of the pair speaking over the phone after he allegedly flirted with another woman at a party. And so she was asked about the removal of details about the length of calls from a draft copy of the story. And so his lawyers claiming the detail was removed from the article because it was obvious that line gave the game away, that there had been blagging of call data, obtaining of call data. And she said, look, I don't know the reason why someone removed it. I'm not sure it's suspicious, adding it was obvious that a girlfriend might call a boyfriend. Yeah. Do you know what? If, let's say, I was still with my ex right now, and I had reason to believe that he were flirting with someone else, damn right I'm going to get on the freaking blower and give him a call and be like, what the deuce is going on? Reasonable, right? Yeah. It's a reasonable assumption. She's got an answer to it. Has he proven through the realms of speculation that she did any unlawful information gathering whatsoever at this point? No. She says, I would have taken what he said as a genuine source for a story. That's what all journalists do. That's what we do. Here on Popcorn Planet, Steph the Alternate, it's Kim, Nerd Report. We all do the same thing. I've no knowledge of anybody using unlawful means to file a copy to me. There we go. Yep. Now, towards the end of her testimony on the stand, the judge hearing the trial, Mr. Justice Fancourt, okay, that's the judge, okay, for anyone not in the UK that understands High Court, the judge is called Mr. Justice, and then their actual real last name. So Mr. Fancourt's first name is not Justice, okay? Just to put that out there, okay? Just to explain
Wasn't there a judge the other day that it was like
there of the UK High Court system. So Mr. Justice Fancourt asked the journalist if she would ever make up things for a story, okay? So this is a judge's turn to ask her a couple of questions. She says, no, never. There we go. Adding, I would always have to be able to account for it if there was a complaint.
Yep.
That's reasonable. Reasonable. And says, I don't think I would cross the line, she said. There you go. And the defence barrister, so in the UK, a barrister is a lawyer. Let's put it that way, okay? So, defence lawyer, defence barrister for the Mirror Group newspaper, Andrew Green KC, said, and I agree with all of this, there's simply no evidence capable of supporting the finding that the Duke of Sussex was hacked, let alone on a habitual basis, and that payment records used in the Duke's claim simply do not demonstrate unlawful conduct or knowledge thereof.
Yeah. Period.
You've got, and we've been covering it the last couple of days on Popcorn Planet and my channel, Prince Harry's testimony, okay? You've now just seen, as we've done the recap, of the Mirror journalist testimony. The person on the other side, okay, on the stand. War in court. Who won on the stand? Did Prince Harry prove that there was unlawful information gathering? Or did the journalist on the stand, Ms. Kerr, turn around and be like, what unlawful information gathering? And provide evidence and other reasonable possibilities of how information for stories could have been gathered? Kim, what do you think to that question? What would your answer be?
I mean, we're missing receipts. We're missing the receipts. I think the press kind of wins by default. Got to prove it. You got to prove it. Love him or hate him. You got to prove it.
And the way that I see it is exactly. You can go like this all day long, but if you don't have the receipts to back it up, what the hell are you doing on the stand in the High Court?
Yeah.
You're wasting time at that point. You're blowing air out of your backside. It's as simple as that. You make a claim, it's up to you to back it up. Burden of proof is on the person making the claim to provide the evidence to prove it's true. But what we're seeing, okay, in this kind of situation where the journalist is now on the stand is Prince Harry's lawyer trying to get that evidence out of the journalist. No, it should be the other way around. It should be, here's the evidence, journalist, answer for it. It's not happened. They're chasing their own tails. So as far as I'm concerned, guys, yeah, Prince Harry's lost. When it comes to Prince Harry on the stand versus the Mirror journalist on the stand, Prince Harry lost. And the journalist has won. And it's not looking good right now for Prince Harry, as far as I'm concerned. Because he has not been able to, again, as far as I'm concerned, achieve the element of proof that is required to be able to prove his claims. Now, the High Court is still going on with this case as we speak. But bear in mind, there are, I think, like 3 other claimants. It's like a class action suit, okay, guys?
Yeah.
So there's 3 other claimants at the moment, the second of which is going through right now. We might be talking a couple more weeks until this whole trial is over. And then how long is a piece of string when it comes to the actual judgment for Mr. Justice Fancourt? Don't know. But with that being said, do make sure that you subscribe to Popcorn Planet, because as soon as there's any further news or updates about Prince Harry's case, we will certainly be giving that to you. Leave a comment below and like this video. Also as well, consider becoming a Popcorn Planeteer and join for as little as $5.99 a month so you can get exclusive content from the man himself, Andy Signore. With that being said, everyone watching live, stay exactly where you are. We're going to trim it for YouTube right here. So anyone watching on the replay, here's a couple of videos that you might enjoy. So get your clickety-click on, clickety-click.